Welcome to Survey Matters with Duncan-Parnell. My name is Mark White, and I'm the Training and Support Manager for DP. Today, I want to talk to you guys about Trimble's connected workflows, and it's January of 2026, and specifically, I want to talk to you guys about the Trimble Connect Web and it taking the place of the Trimble Sync Manager. But first, be sure to like and subscribe. So it's January of 2026, and I wanted to make this video because there's some changes coming to Trimble Connect, specifically for our survey guys who like to use the Trimble Sync Manager. Now, Sync Manager has been around for a long time. As a matter of fact, if you download the latest version of TBC today, it will install Sync Manager for you, but Sync Manager is going away now, okay? Trimble is moving everything over to Connect Web, which is a web-based app, and then also the connected workspace inside Trimble Business Center. Now, today, I want to focus on Connect Web because that's really what's going to take the place of the Trimble Sync Manager and allow you to create jobs in the office, put in data files like CSV files, background maps, things like that, and create a project and send that out to your field crew. Then the field crew do the work and send that information back to the office where you can use it in TBC or another CAD program, right? So again, a lot of our guys have been using Trimble Sync Manager for years, so this may be a little tough. Look, I'm a land surveyor. I know surveyors hate change, but it is time to start moving away from Sync Manager and move to the Connect Web. We have had some customers that are starting to have trouble with Sync Manager working properly, and Trimble support reply has been time to move to Connect Web. All right. So to get started, I'm going to link a video that I did about a year ago that shows you what you need to get set up using Trimble Connect, how to get a license, how to manage your licenses, things like that. I'm not going to cover that today, but I will link a video in the description that will show you how to do all that. All right. So this is already going to assume that you have a Trimble Connect license set up. So what I'll do, put my glasses on first because I can't see. I will open up a web browser. In this case, I'm using Firefox. You can use whatever you want there. And we're going to go to web.connect.trimble.com. If you're going to use this a lot, go ahead and favorite that, right? Save it for you. And that's going to take you to your the Trimble sign in. Again, you have to have your Trimble ID. You'll have to have a license for Connect in order to use this. Check the video in the description. So I'll go ahead and enter in my Trimble ID, enter in my password. And as of January 31st of this year of 2026, you will have to have dual factor authentication. I've got it turned off right now, but I'm going to have to turn that on here in another week or so. So just know that you will have to have that coming up. So when you open up Trimble Connect, it's going to take you to the projects page here, and it's going to list all your projects. You can list it in the grid view like I have it here. You can go to the list view, and there's also an option for 3D. That's going to open up your projects automatically in the 3D viewer. Now, if you're a land surveyor like me and you're really just interested in sending data from the office to the field and from the field back to the office, I like to turn off this 3D first thing so that mine opens up in the Project Explorer. It's kind of like a file explorer, so I can load data and download data, things like that, upload, download, and just kind of work with a file structure instead of a 3D viewer. Now, if you're a surveyor that does a lot of scanning, maybe you want the 3D viewer on. So again, that's up to you. Try it out both ways. I'm going to turn it off here. All right. So to start with, we're going to create a new project. Now, again, it's January of 2026. This is going to be based on using the latest version of Trimble Access, which is Trimble Access 2025.21. So you will need to have the latest version of Access for this whole workflow to work properly. And the way this works is we're going to set up a project in Connect. All right, we're going to assign users, get all our settings right in that project. Then we're going to create a job in Trimble Connect and in the Web Connect, and we're going to load some data files up, and then we'll sync all that with the field, take a few shots, and send it back to the office. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and create a new project. And when you click that, it's going to ask you to put a name for your project in there. All right, so I'm going to do, this is actually a subdivision lot. I've already got one in there called lot 148, so I don't want to copy that. So I'm going to copy or do lot 148 boundary. This is just a small lot survey for four-corner lot. So I've got a CSV file, a DXF file, and we'll go ahead and create a job for the crew to use for that. So I got my name in there. You're going to choose your server location. Just choose the one that's closest to you. I'm working in North America, so I'll choose that. Your project ownership, that's going to be set up on the Trimble server based on your Connect license. Now, I've got a few in here because I'm a dealer, and I've got a couple of different ownership things going on there and a couple of different license types going on, but you're probably just going to have one of each. But make sure that you've got your project ownership set right. And then also make sure it doesn't say free down there at the bottom. Make sure you do have your Connect for Business license up there. Or if you got a TBC subscription, you can use that as well. All right, so I'll click submit there. And this is going to open up our project. And now, again, I unchecked that box for 3D. So if yours comes up to the 3D settings instead of the File Explorer here, there'll be an option up here at the top of the screen where you can click on the folder and you can change over to File Explorer. All right, because if you don't uncheck that box for 3D, it's going to stay on the 3D view for you, but you can easily switch by clicking the folder on top. All right, so you're not missing anything there. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is come down here to the bottom to my settings, the bottom on the left-hand side, and I want to get my project all set up the way I like it. First thing I'll do is I'll kind of start at the top and work my way down. I'm going to go to the project details. And again, it's got the name, all that good stuff. I could put a thumbnail in there if I wanted, but really the only thing I want to set up here is over on the right-hand side of the screen, I've got a place for a coordinate system. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is zoom in on my map and define a boundary. This doesn't have to be super accurate. I'm going to do a large area for the area I'm working in. I'm based around the Raleigh, North Carolina area, so I'll go up here and do a draw boundary on map. And like I said, I'm just going to do this rather large. You can get as granular as you want, but I'm just going to do a large one here. Double click to save that. So now I've got my project boundary set up. I can come down here and do a coordinate system. If you don't set a boundary, it won't let you do a coordinate system, okay? So do that boundary first. So I'll do that. I'll choose a published coordinate system. Now, if you had a calibration file you're working with, just save it out of your data collector as a JXL file, and you can upload that here as well. And that'll put a site calibration in there for you. So that's pretty cool too. And then you have the option to remove the coordinate system at a later date if you need to. But I'm going to do a published coordinate system and work in the US state plane system here. So I'll choose that. Let me scroll down just a little bit, do my drop down. And I'm going to scroll down to NAD 83, United States NAD 83, North Carolina 3200, not the Harn one. I'm going to come up here, one more. And we are still a U.S. survey foot state here in North Carolina, okay? That's going to change later on this year with the new coordinate system. We're going to switch over to international or imperial. But right now, we're still U.S. survey foot. So I want to make sure I choose the right coordinate system. United States NAD 83, North Carolina 3200, foot US. All right, I'll click on that. Just choose the right one for you, okay, for your area. Then I'm going to come up and tell it to save that. So now I've got my coordinate system set up for my project. I'm going to go back over to the left-hand side, scroll down a little bit. The next thing I want to change are my extensions. I want to turn field data on, okay? You'll see right there it says help search, find, view, and download field package data that was captured using Trimble Access. So that's going to allow you to work with job files from Trimble Access by turning that field data on. So that is important. You could turn off civil design if you're not doing that. That's on by default, but you want to make sure you have that field data on. Again, if you're using scanners and you're using reality capture, you could turn that on as well. But right now, I'm just using field survey data, so I'm going to stick with the field data extension. Next thing down is my units. I'll click units, and like I said, I am in a U.S. survey foot state, but set that how you need to, whether it's metric, imperial, or survey feet there. I am a survey foot state, so I'm going to do that. All right, so I will save my changes there. All right, so I set up under project details, I set up my coordinate system. Right there, you'll see the coordinate system. And also, while we're here, if you ever need to delete a project, this is where you go to do it. I get that phone call sometimes. Guys will call up, man, how do I delete a project out of here? Well, go to your Data Explorer, project details, and you can delete it out down there under settings. All right. So we did project details, set up our coordinate system. We turned on our field data extension, and we set our units. All right. Those are the 3 key settings that I need to do to make this workflow happen. Now, working my way back up, I'm going to go to the team. And under the team, I'm already in here, but I'm going to assign my party chief who's actually going to do the work out in the field. So I'll go to invite people to the project, and I'm going to do my DPI crew1@gmail.com. And I'm going to set them up as an admin, okay? You can do user or admin, but here's what I found with the way the system's set up now, and it might change as, kinks get worked out. But right now, if you create a job in Trimble Connect, you need to send it to somebody who's an admin out in the field, or it'll be read-only, okay? So if I set him up as an admin and send him a job file that I created in Connect, he'll be able to use it. If I just set him to a user, it'll come out as read-only. So I'm going to set this person as an admin and go ahead and click the invite button. Now he's going to get an email saying I've invited him to the project, so he'll know that he's good to go there. All right, so I'll do that. Then I'm going to work my way up to field data next, okay? I'm sorry, not field data. Before I do field data, I'm going to go to data, and I'm going to throw a couple of project files in here. Then I'll go to field data to create the job. So let me go up here to data, because I've got a CSV file I want to send to the field and a DXF file I want to send. So I'm going to go data here, go to the Explorer. And now, depending on how complicated your jobs are, you could set up a whole folder structure, right? So you're going to have one project folder on your data collector, in this case called Lot 148 Boundary. Now I could set up multiple folders underneath that depending on the file structure I need. This is a very simple, like I said, 4-corner lot survey. So I don't really need folders for this, but you can use new folder to set up your folder structure. In this case, I'm just going to hit the add button, and I'm going to add this data because I only have 2 files straight to the project folder. Just keep it simple. All right. Hit upload, and now I can drag and drop. So I've got a couple of files over here in my to the field folder, and I'm just going to select both of those and drag them over here. So I've got a DXF file and a CSV file. You'll see there, DXF, CSV. The CSV has the points in it for the crew to go look for the property corners, and the DXF just has the boundary in there labeled with the bearings and distances in case they need to calc something up, okay? So now I've got data in there for the crew. Next thing I want to do is set a job up for them, so when they open Trimble Access, they can open the job, boom, everything's there, they can go straight to work. To do that, we're going to go to field data. I'll click field data. Now you could upload right here. You could upload a feature library if you have one. Again, this is just a simple lot survey, so I'm not going to put a feature code library in here, but if you were going to do a topo, something like that, upload your feature library here. So that's kind of cool. Easy way to upload your feature library. Boom, it's going to load right on the data collector for the guys. I'll go to the field data viewer. And this is going to allow me to set up a survey job on Connect. Now, if I didn't hit that field extension or a field data extension, that's not going to show up. So again, that's why it's important to set your extensions right. So you'll see I am in the survey workspace up here at the top, survey map workspace. Jobs, I've got no survey jobs available, but I do have a plus right here that will allow me to create a job. So I will create that job. Under the name, I'm going to call it Lot 148 Boundary, just like I did my project. You can call it whatever you want there, right? Lot 148, that is not how you spell boundary, Mark. That is. All right. Then I need to assign it to my user, right? So I need to assign it to my survey crew chief, which my name is on the account. It's the second one in here. But just choose that other person that you invited in there, right? So I had myself as the admin. I invited myself as DPI crew 1. So just put that person in there. And then if you've got data in the job, you can link that project data. Now, the cool thing about that is linked project data, when the crew opens up the job, on Access, that data is going to automatically show up. If you don't link it, that's fine. It's still in the project. We still loaded it to Connect Web, and they'll be able to use that. But by linking it here, when I set up the job, all they've got to do is download the project, download the job, open the job, and it's all going to show up. They can go straight to work. So I'm going to link files here. You'll see because I put it in Connect already, there's my CSV and my DXF, so that's pretty cool. I'll link those, and now I'm just going to create the job. All right. So I've assigned a user. I've created the job. It's going to be in the coordinate system of the project. So again, everything's all set up nice and neat. Go ahead and create that. It's just going to take a second for all that to happen. And once that's done, you'll see it's labeled as new up here. Once the field crew opens it up and starts working, I'll get a notification if I open up my map space that it's in progress. So that's kind of cool. In the office, I can see whether or not they've opened it up, downloaded it, things like that. Started a survey because it's going to say that it is in progress at that point. All right. So now I'm pretty much done setting things up here in the office. I've created the project. I've created my team. Let me just go back real quick. Close the map viewer. So looking over here under data, right? I added my files. Under field data, I set up that job. Under the team, I invited my crew. And under settings, I set up my coordinate system and project details, my units, and I set my field data extension. All right, so everything is done with this project. It's there on the web. It's ready for the field. So the next step is we'll open up Trimble Access and actually take a look at that data in the field. All right, so you see I got Trimble Access opened up. Now again, you'll need the latest version. In this case, at the time of this recording, that is 2025.21. And that's because the newer version has it set up this way where I can create a project and assign coordinates to it in Connect and then create the job and it'll all work together. If you're using an older version, this workflow is not going to work for you, okay? So you do need to be running the latest version of Trimble Access to make this workflow work. Now up here at the top, you'll see I am signed in as DPI crew1 at gmail.com. And you'll see there is my lot 148 boundary right there. If I look at my settings up here, these are your cloud settings, so you can automatically upload the current project. I have that set to yes. You could turn that off if you wanted to, but if you set it to yes, you can set it to periodically and set it to a time interval, like I've got it set to 1 hour here. You can do it when you close a job, when you sign in, whenever you end a survey, and that way your data is automatically getting up to the cloud, okay? Automatically getting uploaded. The guys in the office can kind of keep track of it. They can work on it as needed, and you're not going to lose data if something happens to your data collector at night, or if, God forbid, you leave it on the tailgate of the truck and drive off. Okay, nobody's ever done that before, right? But this will automatically upload your data for you. So that's a cool feature to set in there. Download, you can automatically download updates. You can turn that on or off. I'm not worried about trim BIM because I'm not using BIM models. I'm just working with survey data for this example, but I can turn this to automatically download updates. And then if I'm out there working in the field and the office updates something, I'm going to get that update automatically, okay? You can also set it to allow auto sync with mobile data. This is in case you don't have a good data plan or you don't want to spend money on your mobile data. You could uncheck that. And you could also restrict it to sync only on certain networks. All right, just for security reasons there. I've got it set to use mobile data because I want this thing, rolling that data back to the office all the time, and I want to automatically get downloads as well. So those are your cloud settings though. Good things to know there. So I'll accept that. Now there's my lot 148 boundary. You'll see it's grayed out and it's got a cloud over here with a down arrow on it, which means it's not on the data collector. It's up in the cloud and I need to download it. So I will select that. It's looking at the project files right here. And it notices that, hey, I've got a coordinate system assigned. And if you've used Trimble Access before, Access requires a project height, jumping off point in case the software needs to do some COGO calculations. I know the height of this project is around 350. Now you'll see there's a little here button there that's grayed out. If you had your GNSS receiver with you and it's hooked up, you can just hit the here button and it's going to grab a project height from there. But I know this general area I'm working in, the height, again, that's ellipsoid height, about 100 foot in the east coast of the United States below the elevation. So I know my elevation outside is around 450. I'm going to put in 350. Then I will accept that. All right. So it downloaded that project for me, lot 148 boundary. It's got my units. It's got my coordinate system. You'll see there's not a feature library because I didn't upload one, but if I uploaded one, that feature library would be there as well. And I get a chance to put a description in there if I want. I don't really need one for this, so I'm just going to hit the next button. And you'll see it says there's no project data there. I could add data, but for this example, I'm just going to hit next. There's that job file I created, right? And because I linked the data to it, when I download this job file, the data is going to come with it. So there's my lot 148 boundary job file. And you'll see again, it's got a cloud over here with a down arrow, meaning I have to download it. So I'll select it, hit the download button, and boom. There's my other files, right? I've got my JXL, I got my corners, and I've got my labeled DXF. Again, the job, I did a project height for the project. Now I need to do a project height for the job as well. So I'll type in that 350 again. There's that here button if you're hooked up to your GNSS receiver, and I'll tap accept. Okay, I downloaded those files, opened them up, and now I've got those 4 points, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the corner, so the crew can go look. They've also got the boundary information there, so they've got the bearings and distances for the boundary in case they had to calc anything up. Okay, so quick update. We're having to go back and add this little piece to the video. There's actually a bug in Trimble Connect right now that was recently discovered. Trimble knows about it. They're working to fix it. So when you download your job, if you go back to the menu at the top left, click on your job name and go to properties. Now you'll notice that the coordinate system's set correctly, but our units are set to meters. Now we set it to US survey feet in Trimble Connect. We even chose the coordinate system that was set to survey feet. But right now, Connect is downloading the JXL file as a metric job file. So you will need to come back over here and click on that and just switch it to whatever you're using. In my case, it is US survey feet. Now you also need to update the information in here as necessary as well, right? But at least at the minimum, do your distance and grid coordinates and your height. So Trimble's working on it. Hopefully they'll have it fixed before this video even gets out, but I wanted to put this in there so you guys would know about it. Okay, now I'm just going to go ahead. I'm not out in the field, man. I'm not going to lie to you. It's like 28 degrees. There's snow on the ground outside. I don't want to be out there. I'm using the emulator on my computer just to show you guys how to do this. So let me create a point like I'm going and staking something out in the field and finding some of these property corners. That way there's new data in the job and I can show you how to sync it back to the office, okay? So I'll just act like, hey, I shot a point over here next to point number 2. And I'm just going to call it point number 100, corner 2. And I won't worry about the elevation for this point and enter store. All right. So I went out there, located point number 2 real quick, right? And just pencil whip that. I'll escape that. Now that I have new data in it, if I come back here and go to the job, you'll see now it's got an upload icon. All right. Now it's automatically going to upload in an hour. But if I want to go ahead and upload it, I can click the 3 dots there, hit upload, and boom, that job has been uploaded back to the cloud. Okay. So now let's go back to Trimble Connect and look at our field data and see what's there to download into the office. Okay. So I'm back in Trimble Connect Web. And on the left-hand side, if I go to my field data, I'm going to go up to my folder icon up at the top. And now you'll see that I have an in progress indicator there. And if I select that, I've got an option to download that file. Okay, so I can download that and use it in whatever software I want as well. Now, so quick, easy way, sync the data back to the office, download that job file. Now, the other thing I can do is I can bring it straight into TBC. So let me open up Trimble Business Center and I'll show you how you can pull that job straight into TBC if you're a TBC user. Okay, got a project open up in TBC. It's just a blank project. And from the Home tab, you'll see up at the top, I have a connected workspace. I'm logged in under my Trimble ID, so I should be able to see the same projects in my connected workspace that I would be on the Connect Web, okay? So I'll click Connected Workspace there. There's my lot 148 boundary. I can expand that out. And you'll see I have Workspace. Now, Workspace will allow you to share TBC projects with other people. So you could share a TBC project with one of your fellow coworkers, and that will show up in the workspace. Field data is where my job's going to show up. Explorer is going to show anything like that CSV, DXF files, and then I got a settings tab as well, okay? So workspace for TBC projects, again, you can share those. Field data will allow you to share field data, and Explorer will be just a file explorer to show things like your CSV and DXF. So I'll go to the field data tab, and there's my lot 148 boundary. So if I highlight it, you'll see I have an import tab. So I can either download that to my computer or I can import that straight into TBC. So I'll click import, and that's going to bring that job right into TBC for me, okay? So that did that. Now I can also look at Explorer. Like I said, if you wanted to bring in the things that the field guys had, okay, it's importing my job file now, and you'll see there's the 2 points. I ended up shooting another or keying in another one, so I had 100 and 101. So those both came in. You'll see it went from being a blank project to down here at the bottom, North Carolina 3200 US survey foot. So it loaded the coordinate system just like it would if you dragged and dropped a JXL file in there as well. But then, like I said, under Data Explorer, I've got the CSV and the DXF if I wanted to put in what the field crew had. If I just wanted the job file, boom, I've got it. I can go ahead and start processing my data. Okay. Now, guys, thanks for joining today. That is kind of a high-level view. I know I didn't get into all the different things you can do with Trimble Connect, but my goal here was really for you guys that are using Trimble Sync Manager to show you how you can get the same process done using the Trimble Connect Web and start phasing out of the Sync Manager, start using Connect Web by itself in your computer or along with TBC as well to send data back and forth from the office. So, hey guys, thanks for stopping by this edition of Survey Matters, and I'll see you on the next one.